Welcome to the EOB Podcast, where we talk about the weekend box office and the new openings this week. I'm Benno, and joining me is Sen Duong. So Sen, hey, welcome back to another podcast. We couldn't do the podcast on Monday, but we're here Tuesday, and I have to say, happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day. I wonder if today's going to be we'll give 50 Shades Darker a bump, but we'll get to that.
Yes, we'll get to that, but give you a preview, probably not. Okay, so last weekend we have three wide releases. The Lego Batman movie, 50 Shades Darker, which is the sequel to 50 Shades of Grey, and John Wick Chapter 2. And the rankings for the movie is kind of where we had, except that the
numbers are kind of up.
Off for some, okay, some.
I think you were pretty good last week.
With 50 Shades. Yeah, 50 Shades of Darker. So we discovered that everything is not so awesome in Legoland, right? As for 50 Shades Darker, I mean, we find out that audiences might not want to endure what's on screen.
Kinda. But we'll get to that.
Kind of, and then, John Wick, hey, it's like you said, it picked up some audience.
Yeah, it's the one that surprised everyone in the industry. It's on the upper level of what everyone were predicting or were expecting.
Well, yeah, besides me, I was pretty low.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was on the upper end of what people were expecting. The Lego Batman movie and 50 Shades Darker were lower than what people were expecting. So let's get on with it.
Okay, you bring us in.
Alright, so the Lego Batman movie was number one. It wasn't a surprise to anyone, even though everyone, were trying to get out of 50 Shades Darker's way. I mean, even John Wick in some of the trailers were kind of, alluding to it. Like this February, it's, we're getting a darker shade, something like that.
Right.
And of course, the Lego Batman movie, because it's a kids movie, will not get anywhere close to 50 Shades Darker. But, the Lego Batman movie, as everyone were predicting, did become the number one movie of the very busy weekend. It grossed $53 million over the weekend on a budget of just $80 million. It's a hit, but I think people were expecting bigger things because it is sort of a sequel to the Lego movie. It's a spin-off, but people were kind of looking at it as a sequel. So they were expecting bigger numbers because the first one opened to 60 million or
69.
69 million?
69, nearly 70 million.
Yeah, and because of the good word of mouth and how well reviewed the first film was and how well regarded it was, people were expecting bigger things for the Lego Batman movie. But 53 million is very good, especially for a film that only cost 80 million. What was I predicting? I was predicting like 85 or 90 million.
Yeah, no, you said 80 and I said 70, and I don't think we were wrong in that prediction because, in hindsight we were wrong, but at that time,
yeah,
I think we were pretty conservative, at least for me, right? Everyone was expecting higher. I said 70.
Yeah.
Because the first Lego movie opened to 70 million, right? Round figure.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a new property, even though it has a Lego brand, right? It's just about this guy who worked in a job and discovered, it's kind of like the Matrix, really.
Yeah.
Except that it's Legos, right? Mm-hmm. But the spin-off, the Lego Batman movie, it has a named character. Mm-hmm. Like Batman, it has all the other superhero characters. It should be even more attractive.
Yeah, and
right? I feel.
It was well reviewed too. 91% on Rotten Tomatoes or 90?
Yes, 91%. So it's not a bad movie according to critics, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, I think we can get to that later as to why it didn't gross as high as we thought it would gross, right? But it only did 53, which is a little bit better than half of what people were projecting the movie to do.
Yeah, I guess there were too much hype for this film based on how the first film did. And for a spin-off, 53 million on a budget of 80 million is spectacular.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great, just not awesome.
Right.
But hey, I'm sure WB is happy with it. They're going to make a lot of money and we're going to see. You know what? WB can have its own Lego cinematic universe.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Yeah, so even though it's not awesome, it did really well and profits are going to be huge. They're happy.
Yes, it just didn't meet expectations. It opened to 53 million, and it's probably gonna be pretty leggy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think at the end it's gonna make a lot of money, as you said.
Yeah.
But it just didn't open well, and I think one of the reasons
Well, it
why
opened
it
well.
probably
It
didn't
opened
open well.
just not up to expectations.
Well,
you know, anytime,
right.
anytime
People
you have a
expecting
movie,
higher.
yeah,
Right.
anytime you have a movie that budgeted at 80 million that may open to 53 million, that's very good. It's just that people were expecting more.
Right, and I think one of the reason why it didn't open that well is because of our next movie.
Yeah, well, I think that because of the next two movies. 50 Shades Darker is the second movie on our list. It did 46.6 million over the weekend on a budget of just 55 million. But again, like the Lego movie, when you compare it to the first film, the first 50 Shades of Grey movie opened to 85 million, so this is almost like slightly over half of it. I was expecting it to do even worse, but you were almost right on mark. You said about 45 million, right?
Yeah, I said 45, you said 25, although
Yeah.
you did say that it's probably within my range, my number, in the last podcast.
Yeah.
Because the sequel usually drop about roughly half of what it opened to.
If the word of mouth isn't good on the first one, and the word of mouth isn't good on this one.
Right. So it doesn't bode well for the next movie.
Yeah.
I think it's 50 Shades free or something
Yeah.
like that.
But here's the thing with 50 Shades Darker. Although the audience erosion is pretty high on the domestic level, worldwide it did just as well as the first film. It opened to 98 million overseas. And the worldwide figure is 144 million. Even though there's an audience erosion on a domestic level, it looks like overseas is retaining its audience. This is actually a little better than, the Dan Brown series, Da Vinci Code.
The Da Vinci, yeah.
Yeah, even though like with the Da Vinci Code, the drop off was huge worldwide, whereas 50 Shades Darker, the drop off is only on a domestic level. In foreign markets, it seemed to open just as well as the first film.
Yeah, okay, then we have to look at the drop off in the second weekend,
Yeah.
right? Because like it opened to 46, and as we know, like this movie, the series,
Yeah.
the 50 Shades movie, will experience a huge drop off if the first movie is to be a judge, right? And then I think overseas might experience the same thing. You might experience this big drop off after the first weekend.
Yeah, the first film, the drop off was huge. But here's the thing: the first film, Valentine's landed on a Saturday, whereas on this film, 50 Shades, Valentine's Day is actually today. I was reading people in the industry are expecting big things from this film today. Like there's going to be a bump today. So we'll see. We'll see tomorrow if there's a bump. They say usually on Valentine's Day there's a bump for romance movies, whichever day it lands on.
But this is kind of a strange film. Yeah, sure, it's a romance, but it has, you know.
Yeah, but the first film, Valentine's Day, landed on a Saturday. It actually did pretty well on Saturday. So we'll see tomorrow. You know, if it does well today, then hey, you know, the audience erosion maybe isn't as bad, but we'll see.
Point taken. All right, we'll see today how well it'll hold up or if it get a bump or not. But getting back to the Lego Batman movie,
Yeah.
the reason why it didn't do so well, I feel, is because of 50 Shades Darker and John Wick Chapter 2. Mainly because, you know, Lego Batman movie is a family film. And, you know, maybe parents don't want to take kids to the theaters because of, you know, what's playing next door. They don't want to explain to them. I'm just saying, one of the reasons.
Okay, go ahead.
So maybe that's why Lego Batman movie opened to what it did, right? Because maybe they want to, you know, like shield them away from the other two movies.
I agree on a certain level that it's because of the other two movies, but that's not the reason. The reason is that there's actually competition. Like the dad might want to watch John Wick instead of taking their kids to watch the Lego Batman movie. The mom might want to go watch 50 Shades with their girlfriends instead of taking their kids to watch the Lego movie. So I think it's because of that rather than people going, oh, I don't want to have to explain these two movies to them.
Well, I'm just saying it's just maybe one of the reason why. And maybe it's because it's not that much of a family outing as we thought it was, right? Because we thought that there might be something for everybody. Moms might want to watch 50 Shades.
Yeah, but
dads
I mean,
might want
yeah,
to watch
but
John Wick, and then the kids will end up in the Lego Batman movie.
Yeah.
But
well, here's the thing
with the distribution.
Here's the thing with that theory, though. It's not as a family outing with Lego Batman movie. Parents have to accompany their kids to the Lego Batman movie. And maybe one of the reasons why it might not have done as well as people expected was some parents probably opted to go watch 50 Shades and John Wick. The dads go watch John Wick, the moms go watch 50 Shades instead of taking their kids to Lego Batman movie. I don't think it's because they're like, oh, I don't want to explain this to them. Because the kids, they look at the poster, they have no idea. I don't think they even care. They probably don't even notice.
Right. I mean, who knows? I'm just saying one of the factors. Okay, yeah. One of the factors.
Interesting, but I think it's more because of the competition.
All right.
Yeah, not.
I mean, the kids have to end up somewhere, right?
Yeah.
The kids have to end up somewhere.
Yeah.
But we're just not seeing them out in force for the Lego Batman movies, and we're not seeing the people going to 50 Shades. So those two numbers are off quite a bit from their previous highs. So.
Okay.
We're here to explain, right? We're here to explain why these numbers are.
But I mean, interesting theory, but I doubt it. I think it's more just. Okay. All right, let's move on to number 3 on our list. John Wick Chapter 2. I think it's the only one that did up to or exceeded expectations. It did 30.4 million over the weekend, and it was surprisingly well reviewed. I mean, especially for the kind of film it is. 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's for this kind of film, which is kind of very slimmed down action movie. Especially from the first, I think the first film was decently well reviewed too. I think it was like 74% on Rotten Tomatoes. For this kind of movie, the tomato meter usually goes down, but this one is even better. 90% is a huge improvement over the first film. And I think that's probably one reason why it did so much better than the first film.
Right. It pulled in 30.4 million, right? The first John Wick opened to 14 million.
Yeah.
Oh, you pointed out in the last podcast that, John Wick, the first movie did really well on home video.
Well, I'm not sure if it did really well because we have no numbers to justify it, but there are people who discover it on home video and think that it's the best movie ever. Yeah,
you said it would probably pick up some fans, and it did. Yeah. I mean, if it's just the first movie, if it's just open to 40, it did only 43 million domestically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's almost there. Just on its opening weekend, it almost did what it did in its entire run in the theaters domestically, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people saw the first movie probably and think, hey, we want more of the same in John Wick Chapter 2, and they pick up a lot of fans.
Double the fans. Pick up a lot of fans.
Pretty much, right?
But I'm not sure if they want more of the same because usually more of the same turns off critics. So critics actually responded to this one more than the first one. I mean, 90%. Because, like the first Matrix was, since we're talking about Keanu Reeves, like the first Matrix blew people's minds away. And then the second one, critics were like, what the heck is this? A lot of people were turned off by the second Matrix. But John Wick is on the other side of it. It's even better regarded than the first one. Which for action movies is kind of weird.
Yes, and I also like to point out that this movie stars Keanu Reeves, who had his peak, right, during the Matrix movie, really. Yeah. And then his subsequent movies then, open as well.
Yeah, right.
Right? Yeah. So now he's
kind of back. Yeah, he's kind of back. Doing, the kind of movies that people want to see him do, which is these balladic action movies.
All right. I mean, he had the Speed movies, right? He has some Matrix movies. And then I think I'm not sure if he went away from that or, he just, basically his career just went downhill.
I'm not sure. Movies. It wasn't that, it kind of went downhill, but he's always been a kind of draw. Like, he did a bunch of different kind of movies. He didn't just do action movies. Mm-hmm. He did romances, he did thrillers, he did sci-fi, he did war, he did indie. He kind of did everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And those films always open, so he's always kind of have a draw, even though they might not have done up to Matrix level type of business. Right. They always kind of open and they're always kind of there. And people aren't mentioning those movies. People are still remembering the Matrix and Speed.
Right. I think it's just that there's this point in between the two phases where his, Man of Action days.
Yeah.
Good-looking, romance leads, and then there's this middle age, and then now he's getting older, kind of like the Liam Neeson one, where the old ass-kicking guy.
Oh yeah. Except true. No, he made his money with the Matrix movies, and then he's like, I'm just gonna go and explore, and he did everything.
Right, he did everything, and he also has a band.
Yeah. exactly.
And he's touring with his band too. So he's not exactly dependent upon movies, right? He's not like, my whole life is movies. He has other interests, and he is not drawn to like one particular type of genres.
Yeah, right. But the genre that he consistently does well in is, action, like Speed, Matrix, now John Wick.
Right. We'll see chapter 3, I'm sure.
Yeah, especially, yep.
All right, moving along. Number 4 is Split, the M. Night Shyamalan horror movie. I think finally it fell down to number 4. It was, like the top movie for 3 weekends in a row.
Mm-hmm.
It pulled in about 9.5 million over the weekend. Domestic gross is 112 million. Worldwide, the figure is at 169, and of course the budget is low, 9 million, just 9 million.
Yeah, still holding up pretty well. The drop off is only 34%. And speaking of holding up really well, Hidden Figures is the next movie on the list. It did 8 million over the weekend, and the drop off is even better. Only 21% drop off. The domestic gross is at 131 million. Let me see what the worldwide gross is. Oh, okay, 144. So it didn't really expand it worldwide yet. And of all the films in the top 10, with the exception of Lion, it held up second best. And we'll get to Lion pretty soon.
Oh, right. And the budget's only 25 million. And it's a contender for the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
It might win, according to you. Has the potential to pull off an offset.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right. Number 6 is A Dog's Purpose. It pulled in about 7.2 million over the weekend, experienced a 31% drop off from the previous weekend. Domestic gross is 42 million, and a worldwide take is 56 million.
A modest hit, despite the controversy about the video, is doing modestly well.
Yeah, which turned out to be fake news.
Yeah. Yep. All right, let's move along to the next film on our list, Wings. Didn't hold up that well at all. It did 5.6 million over the weekend, a drop off of 57%, which is pretty huge, and kind of normal for a horror film. So far, it has grossed 21 million on a budget of 25 million. I think it's safe to say we won't see another one of these.
Oh, are you sure we won't see this movie being rescued by overseas?
Worldwide, it's at 52 million, which is pretty good for a film budgeted at 25 million. So I don't know. I think they might go direct to video now. Especially since the drop off is so huge between the first 2 films. I mean, like the first film did like 100 something, and then the second film did 70 something. This one looked like have a tough time reaching 30. The drop off has been very steep. I'm not sure if it's worth it for them to release another one on theater. It might be much cheaper to release it direct to video.
Oh, right. Well, the problem with this, the Rings franchise is, as I said previously, is like, where do you go from here?
They can still go to space.
That's true. Rings in space, astronauts watching a video being broadcast from some planet. And they have 7th Earth years to get out.
Right.
All right. Let's move along to number 8. La La Land put in about 4.9 million over the weekend. Going on strong. Drop off's only about 33%. Domestic gross is 125 million. Worldwide take is 293 million, which is amazing for a movie that cost 30 million, and it is a musical, and it is, I feel, the front runner for Best Picture.
Yeah, it is the front runner. Yep.
Yeah, but we might see an upset because of
how well Hidden Figures is holding up.
Yeah, some Academy voters might vote differently, might take a political stance.
Mm-hmm, right. La La Land just opened in China, so we can see it did pretty well. It did about 12 million in China, opened today on Valentine's Day. That 293 million is going to be a lot more by next week.
All right, moving along to number 9 is Lion, which opened to about 3.9 million. Domestic growth so far is 30 million.
No, I won't say it didn't open to around. It did.
It did 3.9 million because it's already in theaters for 12 weekends already.
Yeah. The surprising thing about this is, of every film on the top 10, is the only one that, instead of a decline, it actually increased by about 5%. It did just as well as last weekend.
Right. It did a little bit better than last weekend.
Yeah.
This movie stars Dev Patel, I guess a guy who is adopted into an American family, and he remember his younger days, I guess, as a kid where he got lost, at a train station, and he's back in India trying to find his biological family.
Yeah, it did pretty well. I mean, it's doing very well, especially for an indie film. It's already grossed 30 million, and it's up for Best Picture. And the Weinstein Company, I guess they only have money to spend on one movie this year, and they're putting it all on Lion. And so far, it's paying off. It's already hit 30 million, and it's leggy, and it looks like it has the potential to do 40 or 50 million.
All right, number 10, Sing, putting about 1.7 million over the weekend. Domestic gross is 265. The worldwide figure is 501 million. So, hey, it's getting there. $500 million for an animated feature that costs 75 million.
Yep. Illumination continues the streak.
Yes, and the domestic gross is better than Disney's Moana.
Yeah, yep. Let me see. So we were talking about how Triple X, whether or not they'll get a sequel, and we were saying how it depends on how it does in China.
Mm-hmm.
Domestically, it's at 43 million, and the budget is 85. Last week, the worldwide total was 154 million. So it just opened over the weekend in China, and it did about 60 million. That bumped up the worldwide figure to 230 million. So I'm pretty sure we're seeing a sequel.
So we will see Xander Cage return.
Yeah, although I suspect that they might focus more on Donnie Yen because of how well it did in China.
Okay, so that rounds out our top 10. Let's move on to the new releases. We have, again, 3. We have The Cure for Wellness, Fist Fight, and The Great Wall.
Which one do you want to go with first?
Well, let's go for The Great Wall. This movie is, as you said, with Xander Cage, is a mix of East and West. Mm-hmm. It stars Matt Damon. Mm-hmm. As this, I guess, medieval soldier who went to China.
Yeah, who went to China.
And, he is their best hope against this horde of creatures the wall is trying to keep out.
Yeah, I guess,
Kind of racist movie, really.
I think the timing of the title is bad, The Great Wall, because of Donald Trump. The timing is bad, but I'm not sure from people who have seen it, though, it's not that racist at all, and it's not what.
No. Here, no. Let me explain. Let me explain. Okay, the wall is to keep out the Mongols, right? And
the original Great Wall.
Okay. Yeah, the original bit is to. Now they're saying that the Mongols are some beasts.
Oh, okay. I guess. Yeah.
Yes, they're here to take jobs from Chinese, right? Right. To commit crimes, kill people.
Okay, all right. Oh, okay. Yes, if you look at it that way, it's super racist, especially because of what the atmosphere in the U.S.
Yeah, that too. I mean, if you're on the other side of the Great Wall, say,
yeah, that's true. That's true. Bad timing. It's directed by Zhang Yimou, world-acclaimed director. On the east side, it also stars Andy Lau. So it's one of these East-West co-productions. The budget is, from what I've read, is 200 million. It did pretty well. It did decent in China. It made like 170 million in China. And the worldwide figure is 224 million. But, at 200 million, it needs to at least do 400 million worldwide to break even. And I think it's already open everywhere else. I think the U.S. is one of its last major markets. Well, it hasn't opened in Japan yet, or South Korea. So it still has some places where it can make up some ground. But I think the U.S. is probably the next biggest market. And I don't think it's going to do 170 million domestically because of the bad timing.
Have you seen the poster?
Yeah.
The poster, I said, the title is The Great Wall, but plastered on the poster is like a big, giant face of Matt Damon.
Yeah. I read some reviews that, some people, or some comments that some people were expecting more of a historical drama. And I was actually, when I saw the trailer, I actually liked the trailer because I actually like the fantasy element of it because I seen a few. Zhang Yimou's last one is another one of these kind of dramas, historical drama, and I kind of wanted to see something a little different from him. And I actually didn't have a problem with the premise of it being a fantasy movie rather than a historical drama.
Okay, I mean, let's talk about its domestic fate here.
Yeah,
Right?
okay.
I feel that audiences here are not ready for the fantasy element of Chinese movies.
I'm not sure if they're not ready. It might just be kind of an odd mix for them. I don't know. Kind of a
Yeah, no, I mean, they seen martial arts movie, but this fantasy element,
of
I
dragons.
think it's too different.
Mm.
Yeah, no, not just dragons, just people flying.
I don't think they're flying. They're flying, jumping off the Great Wall on wires and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm just saying people are just not used to that element in movies here. So that's why I don't see this movie doing well here.
That's the thing. I don't see it doing well here too. But I don't think it's because of that. They try to keep it pretty grounded though. It's not like the Jet Li movies where they're flying just because they. It's not that kind of movie. Like right here, they're not really flying. They're jumping off the wall attached to wires. Like the people here don't have the ability to jump 20 feet in the air or jump down the Great Wall without wires attached. Or not like Crouching Tiger where they're flying, jumping off walls and flying onto bamboos.
Yeah, but there's less of that here. But this one, they're fighting these mystical beasts,
Yeah.
dragons too,
Yeah.
right? And all of these things. It's an odd mix of East meets West kind of thing. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's an archer, but
Yeah.
yeah, sure, he's really good with bows and arrows, and he's gonna save the day,
Yeah.
right, at the end.
Um, well, from what I read, it's not as bad as it looks. It's not one of these white savior type of movies. From the reviews.
Review-wise, right, on Rotten Tomatoes, it has 39%. It'll probably drop further once we get closer to
Yeah,
release.
yeah. Probably one of the worst review Zhang Yimou films.
Right. Zhang Yimou, I felt, is that he's also an acquired taste as well. He can do dramas, but action movies,
No, he's been pretty good. Hero, in terms of the action movies, he's surprisingly well to me, especially coming from, directing, a bunch of dramatic films with Gong Li. As far as like Hero and House of Flying Daggers, in terms of doing something on a bigger, larger scale, I thought those were really well done. I don't think those are acquired tastes. That actually expanded his audience.
yeah, but I still feel that he's like, even with those movies, even though they look good, I feel that they're too stagey to me. Stage feel. This is not as natural to me.
Kind of disagree.
Okay, we'll have to agree to disagree. And how do you think the Great Wall will do?
It's one of these films that's just kind of like the Flowers of War. It's trying to mix the East-West element. I guess the person who's tried it the most is Jackie Chan because he did the Rush Hour movie and the Shanghai Night movies here, and for some reason it's hard to mix the two. His movies that did the best here were the ones that were made by Hollywood, but those films couldn't attract an audience in Asia. It's kind of a tough thing to do to make a movie that is suitable for both sides of the audience because I guess both sides are looking for different things. Zhang Yimou is trying to do that. He tried to do that with the Flowers of War too by casting Christian Bale, and he's trying to do it again with the Great Wall by casting Matt Damon and Andy Lau. And it's one of those things that they just can't quite get it right. And it seems like with Jackie Chan now, he'll make a Hollywood movie for the American audience and he'll make a Chinese movie for the Chinese audience instead of trying to appeal to both sides.
Yes. That's one of the problems is integrating the two sensibilities,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I think the problem with the Great Wall, it's kind of, if you look at it, it's kind of like a movie that takes place in medieval times.
Yeah.
So we use, from the American's point of view
Yeah.
or domestic point of view, right? It's medieval times where you have the knights, kings, and etc. And then you have this sea of Asian faces.
Yeah.
And this two white guy. I think for the domestic audience, it might be too much to take, like I said, in addition to, the story elements, the fantasy elements. They're so out of place there.
So what are you thinking?
Oh, you know what? I think 15 million.
Oh, 15 million?
Yep, 15 million.
That's more than I'm thinking 10 million.
Not much different there.
Yeah.
So we just have low expectation of this. Like between you and me, it's 10 to 15.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd mix. That's why they're pretty well in China.
Well, because it's a Chinese movie.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think those, like I say, the American audiences here are not ready for these type of movies, because you have Asian leads. I mean, those movies don't do that well here, with a few exceptions, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not just that. I'm sure if the film was better reviewed, but it's one of those things where it's just kind of an odd mix where they can't quite get the right performances from both sides because the mix of languages too.
Yes, and you see all these Chinese actors speaking perfect English.
Or most of the time it's not perfect English. That's the problem.
Well, anyway, them speaking English is a strange sight, right?
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's kind of hard because when you make a pure Hollywood film, they'll hire a lot of Asian American actors who can speak perfect English, and so acting wise for everyone is pretty easy. But when you try to make one of these East-West co-productions, it's like you have all these popular Chinese actors who have trouble speaking English, and then you have someone like Matt Damon trying to communicate with them. In terms of the performance, it's kind of, you can tell by the reviews, the acting is kind of stiff and stilted because for these Chinese actors, they a lot of them probably have a hard time understanding what Matt Damon's saying, and then Matt Damon's trying to communicate with who can speak his language that well. So you have this kind of thing that's, I guess, like they say, lost in translation. And it's hard to get great performances out of people who can't quite communicate to each other.
Yeah. We're not that high on this movie at all. I mean, if it did better than our projections, then, it's a surprise.
Yeah. All right. Which movie next?
How about Fist Fight? The comedy starring Ice Cube and Charlie Day.
Looks kind of interesting, kind of small, and not so serious. Ice Cube has been dependable.
He is dependable, and this movie is kind of like the 21 Jump Street comedies that he's been doing, right?
Yeah.
It's like adults going into the world of teenagers and make an R-rated comedy out of it.
Yeah, and we can relate to this.
Sure, of course. It's not that too long ago.
Yeah.
So anyway, the movie I guess stars Charlie Day as a teacher and Ice Cube as this other teacher, right? Or someone who's
Yeah, Charlie Day's character somehow got him fired, and the way they deal with things, at this age, the way they remember how high school was, you go for the fist fight at the end of school. That's how we dealt with things 20 plus years ago. I'm not sure how they deal with things now, but
well, according to this movie, they're still using the same methods, right?
Well, for the teachers.
Right.
I'm not sure how the students nowadays deal with things.
Oh, they just text each other, maybe.
yeah, with emojis.
Right. So, high school comedy with the adults, I guess, assuming the roles of teenagers, them behaving badly, right?
Yeah.
There's no reviews on Rotten Tomatoes yet. I guess they're holding it out until opening day.
Yeah, well, they know it's going to be poorly reviewed, so Ice Cube's been pretty dependable though, so I'll give this maybe 12 to 15.
12 to 15. Okay, I'll give it a 15 opening as well. It's an R-rated comedies, and these comedies seems to be doing decent. These R-rated comedies took on like the workplace,
Yeah,
right? With bad bosses, with like Christmas office parties, etc. Now Fist Fight's taking on high school.
Yeah, simpler, easier times, I guess, compared to the other heavier films.
Oh, right. It's just like adults that fail to grow up.
Yeah.
That's what these comedies are. Okay, let's move on to A Cure for Wellness. It's directed by Gore Verbinski, right? He did the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Yeah.
Stars Dane DeHaan, Jason Isaacs, Mia Goth. Let's hear about this guy, an exec who went to a retreat to get the company's CEO back, and he discovered things are not as it seems there.
It feels a lot like what's that? Shutter Island. Feels a lot like Shutter Island, trailer-wise. The Leonardo DiCaprio movie directed by Martin Scorsese. That's what it feels like to me. It looks great though from the trailer. Just the visuals. Gore Verbinski, his films look great. Even The Ring. So on a technical level, he's like what we refined.
Well, he did Lone Ranger, right? He did the Pirates movies.
Yeah, the craftsmanship is always very high.
Right. But this movie has a 35% on the tomato meter right now, so reviews are not in his favor.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you're gonna have one of these movies about a mental institute, it seems like you need at least someone in the caliber of Leonardo DiCaprio to draw in an audience.
But you have eels. This one has eels.
Okay, sure.
Good stand-in for Leonardo DiCaprio. Get the next best thing. So what do you think?
Oh no, I don't. They showed a trailer in the Super Bowl, so they're expecting this to be more mainstream than. I don't know if this can do 10 million. I'm thinking like 7 or 8 million.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Shutter Island did really well, but that's Martin Scorsese with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. Okay. So I see this movie kind of similar to Guillermo del Toro movie, that horror movie, Crimson Peak.
Oh.
I feel that even though you say that it's similar to Shutter Island, I kind of get that it might be closer to like Crimson Peak.
Mm-hmm.
In that it only had a 13 million opening. It has a domestic gross of 31 million.
That's where you think you're setting? Yeah, I'm about there too. Yeah.
Cure for Wellness, you know what? I'm probably... Alright, let's go with 10 million.
So you're pretty much going 10 million for every one of them. 10 to 15.
What? Yeah,
10 to
well,
15. Yeah.
Well, yeah, 15 for Fist Fight, 15 million for Great Wall, 10 million for Cure for Wellness. Because, hey, look, we still have Lego Batman movie, we still have John Wick Chapter 2, and even 50 Shades Darker.
Yeah.
That's still in theaters.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking it's going to be tough for these films to find an audience. So, yeah, Fist Fight, 12, The Great Wall, I'm about 10, Cure for Wellness, I'm around 7 or 8.
All right. It'll be interesting to come back and see how The Great Wall will do, because it costs so much, and it is a strange mix of East and West. But the thing is, like, we're going to see more of these type of movies coming here.
Mm-hmm. I think the main problem with doing these co-productions is that there's always going to be a language barrier.
Yes. Pure Chinese movies don't really travel well overseas.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think a lot of it has to do with the language barrier. When you can barely communicate with each other, it's hard to develop chemistry and all that stuff that makes films good.
Right. That's true too. And remember what I say about British movie as well? They don't usually do that well here. So it's kind of the same thing. Like, people are not used to hearing the accent.
Well, I'm not sure like with the British, it's okay. Like, at least a British person can communicate with an American person pretty well. But in terms of this, you have people who actually has trouble communicating with each other, and then trying to develop chemistry and whatnot, when they can barely communicate with each other. It's tough.
Right. Guess we'll see it fail here. I mean, racism aside, right? This is, I feel, a racist movie, given the history, right?
Yeah, especially after what Donald Trump said about Mexicans. Yeah, you could see it that way.
People might say, hey, this is an argument for having a wall.
Keep all those monsters away.
Right, exactly. All right, that's it for this week. We'll see you next week.
All right.